Deep in the Jordanian desert, millions of people have walked through this narrow, twisting canyon, the Siq, to reach a city carved directly into the rock over 2 millennia ago. At the end of that canyon sits Al-Khazne, or the treasury. After 2 centuries of scientific expeditions and millions of photographs, this rose-hued facade feels entirely explored. But the towering monuments visible from the valley floor represent only a tiny fraction of the Nabataean capital. Current archaeological consensus estimates that 85% of the sprawling ancient city remains completely buried. Tourists and researchers alike navigate the canyon floors every day, walking directly over a vast, undocumented metropolis. If the world-famous structures of Petra are merely the tip of the iceberg, we have to look closely at what is hiding in the dark of that remaining 85%. To find the rest of the city, archaeologists Sarah Parcak and Christopher Tuttle turned away from the main tourist paths. They used high-resolution satellite data and drone imagery to survey the landscape from above. This satellite map shows the Petra city center and 4 specific targets surveyed by the team, sitting about 900 meters from the ancient downtown. Zooming in on Site 2, the sensors detected faint but unnatural geometric outlines pushing through the sand. Ground surveys confirmed the data. They had found a massive ceremonial platform constructed by leveling a natural plateau. Measuring 184 by 161 feet, paved with flagstones and lined with columns, it is roughly the size of 6 professional basketball courts. Because it was heavily buried and blended into the natural topography, experts had repeatedly hiked across this monument without ever realizing what they were standing on. While satellite imagery found structures far from the city center, researchers from St. Andrews University recently took a different approach at the iconic treasury itself. They looked straight down. Given the fragility of the site, they deployed ground-penetrating radar and electromagnetic conductivity surveys. These non-invasive tools send pulses into the earth to map density changes beneath the bedrock. The scans returned a distinct anomaly directly beneath the famous cinematic monument, a hollow void indicating a hidden chamber. When teams finally excavated the space, they breached a long-forgotten tomb. Inside, they cataloged the remains of 12 ancient skeletons. Among the remains, one skeleton was discovered clutching a specific artifact, the top half of a broken 1st century BC ceramic juglet that looks strikingly like a chalice. While the 1989 film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade depicted a knight guarding the Holy Grail inside this exact structure, the physical artifacts pulled from the dirt tell the true story of the people who actually lived and died here. For a long time, the sheer volume of rock-cut facades created a skewed perception of Petra as primarily a city of the dead, a massive graveyard. The emerging physical evidence suggests that Petra operated as a massive commercial center, connecting the trade routes of Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean. They engineered complex water management systems to capture and store rare desert rainfall, sustaining tens of thousands of residents and supporting extreme luxury. In rock-cut dining halls, archaeologists have uncovered rare surviving wall paintings, detailed with gilding and translucent glazes. The Nabataeans built a highly advanced society of engineers, traders, and artists. The true scale of their capital is only now coming into focus. Knowing that so much of this society remains hidden beneath the sand, the logical question is why archaeologists do not simply excavate the remaining 85%. The rose-red sandstone is incredibly fragile. The moment these buried monuments are uncovered and exposed to the harsh wind, rain, and desert sun, the stone begins to disintegrate. To protect the structural integrity of Petra, the vast majority of the city has to stay exactly where it is, buried in the dark. This reality is forcing modern archaeology to adapt. Instead of wide-scale trenching, researchers rely on targeted, non-invasive technology like space-based sensors and ground-penetrating radar to map the city without ever lifting a shovel. The site remains largely inaccessible to standard archaeological methods, with researchers forced to balance the desire for discovery against the risk of total destruction. The desert has effectively guarded this metropolis for 2,000 years. Now, the challenge is learning how to read the blueprint of this ancient empire without erasing it in the process.